All right, welcome to Yin Yoga tonight. We're going to really hit this area between the knees and the navel, traditional Yin. Make sure you have a strap handy. Always good to have some kind of prop to support you by the blocks or bolster, towel or blanket. And then come into a comfortable kneeling position, either kneeling on blocks or directly onto your heels. And just notice the experience of this part of the body in a kneeling position. Notice the quads, notice your posture, notice your hips. And while Yin Yoga has about a dozen traditional poses it calls upon, in my Yin Yoga I really like to get into the prerequisites for these poses. So a lot of our poses include stretches that aren't normally included in the Yin tradition, but they prepare us for those Yin poses. So right now, with the pressure in the knees, it's important that you, as you kneel there, that you either make the blocks higher if there's too much pressure in the knees or the ankles, or lower if you feel nothing. You can turn a block onto its side. And this gives us a sense of being able to work through our practice with a sensitivity to our own body. We're never trying to copy what somebody else can do. That would be so far away from any kind of yoga practice, really. We're not trying to force fit our body into the pose. We're trying to listen to the body, finding that level of delicious discomfort. That's not always easy to do because we're brought up to compete. But in yoga, you're on a journey to discover your own sensations, your own breathing. So what I love to do is see that you make adjustments whenever you need to. You find your way carefully through each pose. This pose is called Vajrasana or Thunderbolt pose. And it helps lengthen those tight muscles in the front of the legs, the shins, the quads, the top of the feet. It also takes pressure off the hips because of the symmetrical nature of the pose. Let your eyes close if they're not already. Bring the hands to rest on the thighs, palms face up, elbows close to the ribs. And drink in the sensations you're feeling. Notice if the sensations you're feeling are in the foreground or the background. Sometimes our mind can be full of thoughts, worries, anxieties. Sometimes we can feel the currents of our moods and feelings take away our attention. So we're not trying to stop any of that. We're simply trying to bring what we feel into the foreground. Sometimes we use the breath to do that. Inhaling through the nose. Take the breath, imagine the breath traveling all the way to where you feel sensation in the knees. Locate the knees in this shape. locate the ankles, the tops of the feet. Take 3 more breaths, using the breath to keep you anchored in sensation. And from here, come forward gradually and slowly. Come onto all fours and move your knees backwards until you come down onto your belly. Come down onto your elbows and straddle your feet outwards. Flare out the elbows and stack your hands. Rest your forehead on stacked hands into crocodile. Notice all the sensations you feel that may feel like relief after Vajrasana, particularly in the legs, up through the thighs, maybe into the back. All the way through the spine into the neck. Let your breathing bring your attention back, particularly to what you feel in the front of the body, with your belly against the earth, your hips against the earth. What's it like in your body to lie face down on the earth? Three more breaths here. And then walk the feet towards each other and bring the right knee out to the side, 90 degrees. And take a moment to look at that right thigh, right leg, half frog pose. As best as you can, try to have the knee 90 degrees. 90 degrees from the thigh to the hip. If there's any sensitivity on that right knee, you can pat it with a blanket or towel. Bring the hands out 90 degrees into goalpost arms. If you can, turning the head towards the open thigh. Notice again how it feels to lie on the earth, belly down, in this new shape, half frog. If the twist in the neck is too uncomfortable, you can always stack the hands and rest the forehead on stacked hands. Carefully bring both hands behind the back and let the left hand hold the right wrist. A little bit like you're lying down in handcuff position.
Relax your shoulders if that's possible. If there's tension in the shoulders, if you cannot relax the shoulders, come back to the previous shape with goalpost arms or stacked hands. And feel the right thigh right now. Can the right knee travel out a little further? Is there enough length in that adductor to open it a little more, stretch it a little more? Notice over time how the breathing feels belly down. Has your breath changed? For some people, this can be one of the most helpful poses to release anxiety and worry, is to lie face down. Keeping that right thigh extended, release the hands and stack the hands under the forehead. Tuck the chin towards the chest, release the back of the neck. Gently turn onto the right temple. Bring the head back to neutral and bring the right knee back to neutral, coming back to crocodile. Notice in crocodile if there's a difference between the hips, between the thighs. And then propping yourself up onto your elbows, bring the left knee out to the side. Check the position of the joints as you come into goalpost arms on this side. Let the eyes close as you bring the sensations you feel into the foreground of your attention. You could do this in different ways. You could feel where your body contacts the mat, the earth. How it feels on the inside of the left leg, the right hip, the side of the head, the chest, the elbows, the wrists. And each area of contact invite that part of the body to relax even more. Remembering your options if anything doesn't feel right, to take care and adjust. And the option to bring the hands behind the back. Right hand grips the left. And look for that relaxation in this shape. What changes? Notice how your breathing has adapted to being this long in the belly. And for some people this might be a common experience to be on the belly, and for others it might be less so. Bring that awareness, no matter your experience of being on the belly or not. Can that left knee travel out a little more? Relaxing the shoulders. And take the next 5 breaths or so, keeping the left thigh out. When you're ready, you can start to bring the hands back under the forehead and just notice how that feels. Resting the forehead on the stacked hands, and when you're ready, you can turn onto the left temple. Bring head and knee back to neutral. Charlie Chaplin feet come back to crocodile, and notice how the hips feel after half frog on each side. Prop the elbows underneath you. Bring the knees back in. Hands under the shoulders as you push up onto all fours. Tabletop. And in tabletop, take a moment to create some cat and cow movements with the spine. Feeling out the low back. Realizing that we've been on the belly for a long time, and that is a very slight back bend. So as you tuck the tailbone, you might feel a little tension there. And then bring the knees wide, bring the big toes together, and start to sink backwards, butt towards the heels. Come down to your elbows and drop the head down so the chin falls towards the chest and you feel traction in the back of the neck. Stack the fists one on top of the other and rest your forehead on stacked fists. If your feet become cramped, come up into tabletop, curl the toes and push back into the heels with curled toes until the cramp goes, and then try it again. See if you can stack the hands and bring the forehead to stacked hands. If the back of the knees aren't enjoying this, consider bringing a rolled up towel behind the knee joints. For those who can, bring the head all the way to the mat. Lift the head and bring both hands to the left. Bring the right hand on top of the left hand and drop the head down. Relax the head between the arms. Feel the stretch sensation this brings into the right rib cage. If you're feeling a lot of sensation, decide what's right for your body. If you feel like you could get some more sensation in a safe way, start to increase the breath. Let each new breath grow a little deeper. Lift the head and walk the hands all the way to the other side, coming into a lateral child pose on the other side. Left hand on top of right. Let the head drop down between the arms. Increase the breath if you can. Three more breaths. Bring the hands back to neutral. Come up. Hands under shoulders. Knees under hips. Cat and cow. Bring some movement back into the spine. And then we'll just stretch out each leg one at a time. Extend the left leg back. Drop the ball of the foot onto the floor. Push back through the heel bone, stretching out the back of the legs, calf muscle, hamstring. If this is too much for your wrists, come down onto your elbows. Same stretch, just taking pressure off the wrists if you need. Excellent. So we're going to get a little deeper into the back of the legs after we stretch the right side. So bring that left knee in, extend the right leg out and curl the toes. Push back through the right heel, starting to lengthen the back of the legs. After all that kneeling in child pose, all that kneeling in Vajrasana, the back of the legs might be feeling a little short, a little tight. Bring the sensation into the foreground with the breath. So the discipline of bringing our attention into sensations and breath has a significant effect on our stress levels. It's a skill to learn, to practice. And it may not feel like it has immediate benefits, but over time, that skill gets stronger. Exhale, release. Grab a towel or a blanket, come onto your sit bones, have a strap handy. And with your blanket or towel, create your burrito fold. That's going to become your seat, your seat. Sit on your towel with the hips slightly forward and bring a bolster. I'll ask you to bring a bolster or blocks underneath the knees and extend your legs out. So position yourself on your towel so that you're more towards the front of the towel and you feel the torso wants to lean forward, not backwards. So if you're feeling your torso is trying to lean backwards, walk your sit bones closer to the edge. Support the back of the knees and the thighs with the bolster or blocks. And we'll do a little dynamic preparation in the hamstrings and the calf muscles. Curl the toes back and simply do some shin slides down and back. Exhale as you come down. Inhale as you come up. So just prepping the back of the legs. Feeling that. This will move into the low back as well. And then grab your strap and strap up both feet simultaneously. I'll turn sideways for this one so it's a little more obvious. If you're using me for a guide here, so you can see I've got that forward lean, not a backward lean. I've got the feet strapped up, knees supported. And simply hold the strap in a position where you can feel something in the back of the legs. Now work on the back being as long as you can. So I'm going to demonstrate what I don't want to see. I don't want to see this kind of thing where you're rolling and rounding the upper back to try and get down deeper. I want to see you kind of sit up tall and hinge forward, even if it means scooping the flesh away from the belly, away from the hip creases, to bring you a little closer down. And I can see my upper back wants to round very quickly. As soon as I drop my head, it rounds. So keep 1 fist distance between the chin and the chest. And push out through the feet, heel bones. And just hold that sensation. You should be feeling this up through the back of the legs, maybe into the side of the hips. And some people might be able to reach their toes. And some people might be able to reach beyond their toes. And if that's the case, you take a block and bring it to the soles of the feet and wrap your hands around the block. It's not where I'm at. Not today. Let's check out a little bit of dynamic movement here with the spinal flexing by dropping the head down towards the knees and then lifting the head up. So you're just staying in the same range of motion, dropping the head slowly and then up. And notice how it changes the stretch when the head comes down and when it comes up. The hamstrings really start to feel it as you bring the head down towards the knees, as does the low back. Now the next time you come down, you can hold that head down for 5 more breaths. Again, you're looking for delicious discomfort. Nothing that's going to make you grimace. To come out, walk your hands back up your legs so your hands bring you up, not your back. And just for a moment, we'll experience what it's like to have the knees unsupported. So you can remove your prop if you haven't already. So the knees are more extended, and find that straight back, hinge forward again. Notice if that changes anything for you. You can come a little further forward. You can already see when I come forward, my upper back starts to bend more. And then we'll do some more head dips. Use your hands to walk you back up. Bend the knees. And hug the knees into campfire pose. Just bring your head down towards the knees. And then come onto your back. Have all your props handy. If you're on your back, you might want to use your towel or blanket to support the head. The head needs to be comfortable. Knees together, feet apart into TP pose. Arms 45 degrees, palms face up. Notice how the low back is feeling at this point in the practice. As you inhale, press the low back into the floor. And as you exhale, press the low back into the floor. So use TP pose as a way to release the low back tension. So inhaling and exhaling with a little engagement in the abdominals, a little bracing of the belly to keep the low back on the floor. And then bring the left ankle over the right knee, figure four. And lift the figure four into the air and hold the figure four towards the rib cage, feeling the piriformis in the outer hip now. We're just going to do some crunches in figure four. Inhale, exhale, lift the head up and bring the head towards your foot. Inhale, come back down. Keep the figure four up in the air the whole time. Exhale, crunch up. Keep the chin tucked towards the chest. Inhale, bring it back down to the ground. 3, 4, 5. Now before we come up for the last crunch, grab your strap into your hands. Come up and bring the strap over the right foot and straighten the right leg into the air and then lay back down. So you've created your figure four with a hamstring stretch, toes curled back. And if possible, that left ankle staying over the right knee. So you've still got the figure four. Let me show you what it looks like from front on. That's it. And we're just going to start to sway slowly from side to side like a pendulum. Notice how that feels and what sensations come into the thighs, the buttocks, just explore here how far your pendulum wants to travel. The next time you come to neutral, release the strap. Let that right foot come to the ground and slide the left knee over floppy shin. And stop the flop as you press down with the right foot. Lift the hips into the air and roll onto your right thigh. Come into your twist and bring the hands out 90 degrees from the shoulders. Feel these new sensations in your body, in your hips, in your thighs. Gently rolling the head from side to side, checking the neck. How does the neck feel at this point in your practice? Turn your head in one direction that feels delicious for you. It may be away from the twist. It may be towards the twist. Where it may be neutral. But what just feels, oh yeah. Bring the head to neutral, knees to neutral, and relax the legs. Just relax the legs for a moment. Notice the hips, the low back. Bend the knees, and this time bringing the right ankle over the knee. Pick the knee up and hold your figure four. It might be about 60, 70, 80% of what you're capable of. We're just holding it for now, just to bring release into that area. So at different stages in the practice, we come into different levels of intensity for our range of motion. So this doesn't have to be that intense. To increase the intensity a little bit, we do some sit-ups here. Exhale, crunch, come up. Inhale, back. Crunch up. And remembering on that fifth crunch, we're going to grab the strap and lasso the left foot, keeping the figure four with the hamstring stretch. So make sure you know where your strap is. There you go, that's good. Look for deliciousness in the back of that leg. It might be more located in the calf. It might be more located in the hamstring. When you've found your sweet spot, you can start to rock your pendulum from side to side. That's going to give the glutes a nice massage. And it's also going to get into the IT band on the outer left thigh, which can be nice. Remembering your range of motion is your choice here. Just what feels safe and comfortable for you. A little bit of core strengthening work here too as you do it with control. You can use the abdominals to slow the descent of your rock. And the next time you come to neutral, you can bend the left knee and push the right knee over for floppy shin. Knee over knee. And when you're ready, you can lift the hips into the air and roll onto your left thigh. Come into your twist. You can move your head through its full range of turning motion here. And once again, look for where the sensations in the neck give the brain that information. Oh yeah, this feels good. And keep your head in that position with the lumbar twist. Not worried about anyone else's position. What simply feels right in your body. Feels good. Three or four more breaths here. And when you're ready, bring your knees back to neutral, hips to neutral. Uncross the legs. And open the body out into five-pointed star with head support. Arms 90 degrees out from the shoulders, legs straddled, heels off the mat onto the floor. And if you need to keep the body warm here, consider putting on more layers or a blanket over you. And before we come into Yin's Shavasana, scan from the top of the skull through the face into the neck, and whatever sensation you feel in that area, invite that area to relax through gentle breath. Gentle breath. Relax the neck. Shoulders, left shoulder. Left arm, left hand. Through the left shoulder, shoulder blade, into the right shoulder blade, right arm. right hand, right low back, right buttocks, right rib cage, right thigh, visualizing, feeling, relaxing. Right knee, right foot, and come all the way up to the left rib cage. Letting go and relaxing. Left hip, down through the right hip, left hip, left thigh, left foot. Let the whole body let go. Let the breath go. Let the next breath in bring you back to your mat. Gently bend the knees. Clasp the hands behind the head. Pick the knees up and lift the head up. Wrap the forearms around the skull. Squeeze the skull and pull the back of the head up, and as you do, push the back of the head into your hands. So your neck is engaged as you stretch it. And then roll carefully to one side. come up gracefully, slowly to a comfortable seat. Kneeling, legs can be straight, they can be crossed. What works for you today? And take the felt sense in your body, the felt sense. Let it linger on like an echo after practice into your transition. So move and transition slowly to the rest of the day or the evening. And remember this echo. As you bring the hands together at the chest, let the head bow in gratitude. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for coming.